Hello students, welcome back to the session of Laws of Motion, part 8. Before going to the actual topic of today's class, let's see this animation. Here is a man walking on the sand. So you might have even experienced that to walk on the sand is quite difficult when compared to walk on the normal roads. Then why is it so difficult? Is there any other force which is acting opposite to the force of that man? Even you might have experienced that you can run very easily on the normal roads, but to run on the sand is difficult. Why is it also? So we will see the answers in certain topic which we are going to learn today. And one more thing, you should know that. And one more thing, if a man is able to walk on the road properly without slipping, then there is a force making the man to walk properly. Then what is that force? That also we will see today. So let's see one more example to understand the concept clearly.
So observe clearly here. Here I have considered an object, okay, and this object is placed on this surface. So what are the forces acting on this object? Let's see. If the object is stable on the surface, there is a force to that, what we call it as normal reaction. So this object is having certain mass m. Okay, let's draw the same object. So here I have drawn the object. So this object is having certain mass m and it is placed on the particular surface. Okay. As it is placed on the surface, this object is possessing certain force in downward direction. Due to gravity, we will consider the total weight of the object is W is equal to mg. Similarly, as the object is placed on this surface, the surface also will possess the equal in magnitude force to the mg but opposite direction to balance this object on this surface. And what is the upward force? That we can consider the same weight W is equal to mg, as it is in equal in magnitude. As it is in opposite direction, what happens? This is minus mg. Then if you calculate the total force, plus mg and minus mg will be cancelled each other and hence 0, so that the object is balanced. Now what we will do, we will start putting certain force on this object at this direction. If you put small force, will the object starts to move? What happens? This normal reaction force is cancelled by the force of gravity. As the vertical force is cancelled each other, so this is the vertical direction, this vertical forces are cancelled each other. Now what I will do, I will apply the force in horizontal direction. So this is the horizontal direction. We know from our experience that a small force is not enough to move a body. If you apply a limiting force, if you apply a very small force, will the body move? No. One small force ಹಾಕಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತಾ? No, this object is not moving. Then what is the reason? That is because what we say that there is another force horizontally in opposite direction, which is opposing the applied force. Is it clear? If there is no such opposing force, this object might have moved when I apply force suddenly, but this object is not moving. The reason, there is some other force which is not making this object to move. So let's see what is that force because of which for a small force this object is not moving. That force is friction. So in today's class we are going to study about detailed explanation of friction. About friction I have explained in shortly in the last part of laws of motion. Okay, so let's see what do you mean by friction. So let's see the definition. What is the definition of friction? In exams they may ask you the question as define the friction or define friction for 1 marks. Okay, now so let's see the definition. The opposing force which opposes the relative motion of the two bodies is called friction. Once again, I'll read for you. The opposing force, so this is important word. The opposing force which opposes, so it is opposing the relative motion of two bodies. So what is happening here, if the object starts to move or tries to move, there is an opposing force. One opposing force irutalli, because of which the object may not be moved. So to such kind of force, what we call it as friction. Okay, understand clearly. Here what I have done, I have taken the two objects which are in contact. Okay, now especially frictional force is a contact force. So these two objects are in contact. Now what I will do, I will apply the force horizontally. If I apply the force, the object is not moving. What is the reason? Here there is an opposing force for this object horizontally, right? The opposing force which opposes the relative motion means ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ದೆನ್ ವೈ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ದೋ ಯು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಿಸ್ surface will offer opposite force. And keep one thing in the mind, the opposing force comes into play only when the object tries to move. In the sense, the force is applied on the other object. You have to understand clearly here, the definition of friction says that it is the opposing force of a relative motion between the two bodies. Is it clear? To make you understand clearly, now I will show you an animation.
So here is an animation in which you can observe very clearly. Here is a boy who is trying to push the large object, but the object is not at all moving. Then what is the reason? As I told you, there is an opposing force which is making the object to not move. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಯ್ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸು ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಕೊಲೈಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಮೋಷನ್. ಬಟ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ಆನ್ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೂವ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆ ಬಾಯ್ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೂವ್. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್? ದೋ ದ ಬಾಯ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ in impending motion. As I told, what is impending motion? The object may move but actually not moving. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಇಂಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಇಂಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೂವ್. ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ದ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಬಾಯ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ದ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಬಾಯ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೂವ್. I hope you have understood this animation clearly. So let's go back for the explanation.
Static friction is denoted by the symbol Fs. F stands for friction and S stands for static, and hence it is denoted by static friction Fs. So we will use this symbol for the static friction. As we have seen in the animation, that object was not coming into motion, though a boy was applied a certain force on this object. Then when the object may come into the motion, the object after a certain point will come into the motion. Then when is it coming into motion? After reaching to the maximum value. And to this maximum value only we call it as maximum static friction, which is denoted by F suffix max, or this kind of friction is also called as limiting friction. Then what do you mean by this maximum static friction or limiting friction? Just you observe here that what I will do, in my hand I'll put this pen. So this pen, I'll apply opposite force and pen is balanced on my hand. Okay, how much amount of force is applied by the pen, the same amount of force will be applied by my hand also, so that the object is balanced. Now what I will do, instead of this object I will put certain other object. So now on the same hand I will put this cell phone. When the cell phone has put the force on my hand, equally a force is developed by my hand and it is opposing the weight of this cell phone, and hence phone is balanced on my hand. Similarly, if you go on putting a certain amount of force on the hand, it can balance the weight till to the maximum weight. Instead of this phone, if you put any other object which is having more weight than this, can this hand balance that? What happens? It can balance till to a certain limit. If you put more force than this, then what happens? This hand may move downwards, which indicates that here the weight of the another object is more, and hence the force applied by this another object will become more, which exceeds the opposing force by the hand, and then this object will move downwards. Then when the object is moving downwards, when this object exceeds this maximum force applied by the hand, then what happens to this object? Starts to move downwards. The similar thing happens in the static friction also. Then how is it? So let's consider an object on a certain surface. You will apply certain force. Okay, when you apply certain force, there is another force developed in the opposite direction. To that only what we call it as friction. Okay, na? So if you apply 1 Newton of force, this friction will develop oppositely 1 Newton force. If you apply 2 Newton force, then this friction will develop 2 Newton force, until when it will develop its force until to the maximum value. It can develop the force to its own character. Then why is it developing? That is the characteristic of friction. To that characteristic only what we say it as self-adjusting. Self-adjusting. So it adjusts its opposing force depending upon the applied force. If the applied force is going on increased to a certain limit, and if you apply 10 Newton of force, it may also develop 10 Newton force. But if you increase further for 10.5 Newton of force, the friction may fail to develop its opposing force. Then what happens? Then to this value only what we call it as maximum value or limiting value, at which applied force exceeds this value, and hence if you apply the 10.5 Newton force, this object may starts to move. And to this value only what we call it as maximum static friction or limiting friction. So let's see the definition of limiting friction. The maximum opposing force which comes into play when the body is just at the verge of motion over the surface of another body. Here what does it indicate? Verge of motion ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಬಾಡಿ ಮೋಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ವರ್ಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ಯಾವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಬಾಡಿ ಮೋಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು? ಅದು ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತನಕ ಅಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ನ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು. ಆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಗೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್, ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿನೋಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ F max. Okay, this maximum static friction is there, no? It is independent of area of contact. Whatever the amount of area is in contact with the surface, okay, this is the area of contact to the surface. If I draw a circular sphere, then this is the surface, so only the small area is in contact with the surface. So what we say is ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಡಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕೇರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಏರಿಯಾ. ಎಷ್ಟಾದರೂ ಏರಿಯಾ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲಿ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ಗೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಏರಿಯಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ಲ. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್, that does not bother. I mean, which is not bothering? Maximum static friction is not bothering. To that only what we say, the maximum static friction is independent of area of contact. To make you understand clearly about the maximum static friction, I will show you an animation. Now I will show you certain number of animations so that you will understand the process of static friction very clearly. Here what is happening, a boy is applying the force. You can observe here FA by the red mark. Force applied is towards the right direction. But the object is not moving. What is the reason? The reason is surface is offering the opposing force, which is denoted by FF by the blue color letter. So whatever the amount of force the boy applies, there is a opposing force developed by the surface of contact, so that what happens to the object will not move. Until when the object will not move? You can see that. So in this diagram you observe here, an ant is coming and putting the force. It will not move. Okay, similarly you have to observe the graph. It goes on putting. After reaching to the certain limit, what happens? The object starts to move. To that limit only, what we call it as maximum static friction or limiting value of friction. After reaching to the limiting value in the graph, then what happens? The slope is going on increasing. After reaching to the certain limit, then what happens? You will get a slope parallel to the x-axis. Is it clear? So that is what you can observe here. Ant will apply the force on the object. It will not move because the object will oppose the ant's force, and after reaching to the maximum value, then the object starts moving. Is it clear? To that maximum value only we call it as limiting friction or maximum static friction. So in this diagram also you can observe, after achieving the maximum static friction, this person is moving the object quite easily because he has exceeded the maximum friction. So always there is an opposing force in contact with the object, but you have to understand clearly here, the opposing force comes into play only when the applied force is there on the object. I hope you have understood the concept of friction. Let's go for the maximum static friction. As I have shown you in the animation, I will try to draw the graph for you. Here what I will do, I will take along x-axis applied force. On y-axis, I will take the frictional force. Okay, frictional force in along y-axis. According to the diagram, what happens if this is the origin? If you apply 1 Newton of force, the frictional force will develop 1 Newton. If you apply 2 Newton of force, it will also develop 2 Newton of force. So what happens here is the diagram, dots. If you join these dots, you will get a straight line. And until when it will develop? Until to the maximum value. After reaching to this maximum value, this force of application will become going on increasing. As the force of application is going on increasing, then the frictional force cannot develop more than that. When it cannot move, then what happens? The applied force, because of the applied force, the object starts to move like this. Okay, and this is what we say it as maximum value, and to this maximum value only what we call limiting friction. This is called limiting friction. After the limiting friction, whatever the object starts to move, then whatever the force comes into play, to that kind of force we call it as kinetic friction. About the kinetic friction we will study later. Let's go for the characteristics of maximum static friction. The maximum static friction is independent of area of contact. Okay, so as I already told you, it is not depending upon the area to which it is in contact. Next characteristic, the maximum static friction depends on normal reaction. This is very important. It is depending upon the normal reaction. How is it depending on the normal reaction? Let's see that explanation. So, maximum static friction depends on the normal reaction. How is it depending upon the normal reaction? Let's see that explanation. From experimental observation, we say that static friction, maximum static friction varies with normal reaction, which is denoted by N. And how is it varying? It is varying in the direct proportionality. Okay, na? So F max is directly proportional to N, which is normal reaction. So this is the normal reaction. If maximum static friction is more, normal reaction will be more. If maximum friction is less, normal reaction will be less. So if you remove this proportionality constant, we have to introduce a constant term. To that only what we say it as mu and S. Mu S means constant of proportionality. So as I introduce the constant term, I will write here is equal to symbol and remaining N as it is. So this is the expression for maximum static friction. F max is equal to mu S into N, where mu S is constant of proportionality. And this constant of proportionality is called as coefficient of static friction. So this constant of proportionality is only called as coefficient of static friction. Is it clear? And this coefficient of static friction has certain characteristic. It depends on nature of material. So as the nature of the material changes, coefficient of static friction also changes. Is it clear? So they may ask you for the 1 marks, state the factor on which coefficient of static friction dependent. So what you have to write the answer? Answer is nature of the material. Is it clear? So based on this statement, we will define the coefficient of static friction, and what we do, we have made this only as a law of static friction, and to this relationship only we say it as law of friction. Let's see how we write the law of static friction. So law of static friction, if they ask you for 1 marks to write the law of static friction, you have to write it as F max is directly proportional to normal reaction. That is okay. Using this, we have to write the law of static friction as F max is equal to or less than. So it may be equal or less than the normal reaction and coefficient of static friction. So what we write? The maximum static friction is less than or equal to coefficient of static friction or normal reaction. So this is the law of static friction. Is it clear? I hope you have understood the law of static friction. Again, using the expression F max is equal to mu S into N, using this expression we write the definition of coefficient of static friction. So let's see what is the definition of coefficient of static friction. So coefficient of static friction's definition is the ratio of maximum static friction force to the normal reaction force of the body. You just remember this formula, which is that F maximum is equal to mu S into N, right? So I want to know the definition of mu S. Then what you have to do, keep the mu S there itself and send this normal reaction. Send this N to the denominator of this F max. Then what happens? Mu S is equal to F max divided by N. Okay. So whenever we write in the form of numerator and denominator, so whenever we write in the numerator and the denominator form, we have to use the word ratio. Whenever we write in the form of numerator and denominator, we have to use the word ratio. Now you define easily. Mu S means what? What do you mean by mu S? Mu S is coefficient of static friction, right? Static friction. Okay, so consider this is equal to as E. Consider this is equal to as is defined as. Okay, now I'll make the definition for you. The coefficient of static friction is defined as the ratio of maximum static friction to the normal reaction, and this denominator divider line indicates to the. F max means maximum static friction. So that is what the definition here. No need to mug up the definition, just you remember the formula and make the definition. So again I will write for you, check it. Mu s means coefficient of static friction is defined as the ratio of maximum static friction to the normal reaction and is called as coefficient of static friction. Is it clear? One thing you should keep in the mind, that coefficient of static friction depends on nature of material. Is it clear? I hope you have understood the definition of coefficient of static friction. Okay, so this is about the first kind of static friction. So next we will study about the second kind, that is kinetic friction. I hope you have understood all the topics whatever I have explained you in today's class. Okay, if you want to know about the types of common forces, so please go through the part 6, then you will get to know about the friction and its types easily.
Thank you.